Hi, everyone. My name is Anne O'Neill, and it's October 31st, 2024, just the day before the new moon that we have tomorrow on November 1st. So I'm going to call this video, the theme of it, more balance and less divisiveness. That's certainly what I have been working with and seeing as one of the bigger themes when I looked at the astrology. So I've been an intuitive and spiritual life coach for about 20 years now. And I'm currently studying astrology, and that includes galactic astrology as a way to assist my clients and also the collective at this time. So if you are interested potentially in working with me, you can find out more information about me on my website, which was going to be linked below this video. So this video is about the November 1st, 2024 new moon in Scorpio that is happening at 5:47 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I am. The sun and moon are going to be at 9 degrees and 35 minutes of Scorpio. And Scorpio is a sign, as many of you will know, that's very comfortable going deep into what's hidden, bringing that forward to transform it. Things that we often like to keep hidden, Scorpio will reveal and bring to light. So Pluto is the modern day ruler of Scorpio, and Mars is the ancient or traditional ruler of Scorpio. This makes the opposition that we see in the chart for the new moon between Pluto and Mars very significant. We have been watching Pluto for a while now, feeling the effects of it sweeping through what's will be the last time it will be in Capricorn for about 248 years. Pluto's movement into Aquarius in about 3 weeks on November 19th or 20th, depending on where you live, um, is very significant. It's thought to be a signpost of our movement into the age of Aquarius. So as this shift of Pluto into Aquarius becomes more imminent, be prepared for things being dredged up from the depths, both personally and collectively. I'm sure that's probably something that you have noticed, but it should be no surprise at this time. Pluto's bringing to light and transforming what's not meant to come forward from the conventional and the traditional structures that have been part of the foundations of our society for some time. So this process of bringing to light and transforming, it also applies to the structures and foundations in our own personal lives as well. It's not necessarily a comfortable process, but it is one that has great potential to transform both our personal lives and also the world for the better. So that is the spirit in which I have looked at the astrology. So first I wanted to talk about the Pluto-Mars opposition, which is quite significant in this new moon chart. Pluto is in the final degree of Capricorn at 29 degrees and 44 minutes. It's in opposition to Mars, which is in the final degree of Cancer at 29 degrees and 4 minutes. So this Pluto-Mars opposition began in late October, just after the last full moon, and it will be in play for the next 6 months or so. So that opposition will be exact on November 3rd, which is just 2 days after this new moon on November 1st. Mars is going to be slowing down and going retrograde into Leo in early December. And this close dance between Mars and Pluto will continue until about the end of April of next year, 2025. So oppositions bring us the opportunity to balance or integrate energies which we could see as being on opposite ends of the spectrum. So balancing and integrating these opposites does assist us in avoiding more polarizing and divisive extremes. So, that's a job. Obviously, it takes work to do that integration. But when we do that integration personally, then we can also influence the collective energies that are at play at this time, which I'm sure many of you have noticed are quite polarized and divisive at times. So Mars in Cancer in opposition to Pluto and Capricorn does bring the potential for some deep, dark aspects of ourselves and our world to emerge, and also to be acted on in a reactive or a fiery kind of way. So with both Pluto and Mars actually in that final degree or anaretic degree, that adds another layer of intensity here to this opposition. Mars being in Cancer does help to temper things with it being Mars in Cancer is more balanced emotionally and more compassionate than, say, perhaps if Mars were in another sign. So that can help to modulate what could be the more reactive kind of expression of these deep, darker things that may be being brought up both in us personally and also in the collective. One suggestion is that I have is to focus on the energies of emotional balance and compassion that are available through Cancer to try to temper that Mars energy that can be quite fiery and quite reactive. Can just make for a bit of a smoother ride. Also, the fact that Pluto is moving from Capricorn into Aquarius does mean that that's influencing Mars, the expression of Mars as well. So Mars traditionally would be the old kind of warrior energy, and including energies of, power over and domination and that sort of thing. But with Pluto moving into Aquarius, there can be a tempering of that as well, moving it more into energies that are associated with Aquarius and would be characterized by equality and collaboration. So perhaps a rebirth or a shifting of those old traditional Mars energies into something a little bit different for the time that we're heading into. A few suggestions that I think I'll probably always have are that, there are many energies that we can tap into and that they will assist us in bringing as much ease and grace as we can to what can be very challenging times. So do what you can and what helps you to stay healthy and grounded. Certainly getting your bare feet onto the earth can help. Spending time in nature, if you enjoy that in whatever way, whether it's walking or being by the water or being out at night looking at the stars, whatever other favorite methods that you might have for self-care at this time, whatever you find nurturing, it's important to do those things as we go through what can be intense kinds of transformations. In this chart, there's a strong water influence, and of course, water is about the emotions and flow and fluidity. The Sun, the Moon, and Mercury are all in the water sign Scorpio. Saturn and Neptune are in the water sign Pisces, and Mars is in the water sign Cancer. So we have a water trine with Mercury in Scorpio, Neptune in Pisces, and Mars in Cancer. So just to be brief, Mercury is about our thinking, Neptune is about our dreams, and Mars really is about action. So with these three in water signs trying to each other, and trine creates a kind of harmonizing effect, then we have the opportunity for a wonderful flow between our thinking mind, our dreams, and the actions that we bring into this world. The trine relationship brings into play our innate gifts. So pay special attention to the gifts that you can bring forward from your thinking mind and your dreams, and allow that to flow into action in the world for the greatest good. Connected with this water trine is also the opposition that I spoke about between Mars and Cancer and Pluto and Capricorn, forming a kite. So that forms the string part of the kite. So we can bring this positive flow of our thoughts and our dreams into action, which I just spoke about with the water trine, into creating something for the greatest good in our world by allowing Pluto, with the Pluto and Mars opposition, to do its transformative work in that last degree of an Earth sign in Capricorn. So I would say the string of the kite is actually focused on unearthing and bringing to light all that needs to be transformed before Pluto shifts into Aquarius in about 3 weeks. There's also an opposition between Mercury in Scorpio and Uranus in Taurus that is connected with this water trine as well, which would form another potential string of the kite, which I wanted to highlight as well. So with Uranus being in Taurus, another earth sign, there is another strong bridge here for this natural flow of the water trine energy to bring something new and potentially unexpected because of Uranus into our planet. So again, empower yourself to focus on the best gifts from your thinking mind, from your dreams, and your actions, which would allow you to do your part in bringing what's needed now to Earth. And then finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about the galactic influences right now. So we have Acrux, which is conjunct the sun and moon, conjunct meaning in roughly the same part of the sky. And Acrux is a fixed star. It's the brightest sky in the constellation of Crux, which is also known as the Southern Cross in the southern sky. And it's been used for navigation by sailors and also is an important star in fields of astronomy and astrology. It's associated with success, achievement, spiritual enlightenment, and deep transformation. So it's quite wonderful that we actually have the influence of this guiding light to navigate by in these times that where we're going deep for purposes of transforming ourselves and the world. And the guidance is to deepen into our spiritual understanding during these times so that we can evolve through what's emerging personally and collectively. Two other fixed stars, Shadar and Titawin, which are opposing the sun and the moon. So Shadar is in the constellation of Cassiopeia, and the other fixed star that I mentioned, Titawin, is in the constellation of Andromeda. So again, opposition introduces that opportunity to balance or integrate energies that are often seen as being on opposite ends of the spectrum. And so this balancing and this integration can assist us in avoiding the more polarizing and divisive extremes in ourselves, and then hopefully assisting the collective with moving away from the need to be excessively polarizing and divisive. Shadar is at the heart of the Cassiopeia constellation, which is in the northern sky. And here we have the story of a beautiful queen known for her vanity and pride. She actually lacked humility and compassion and tended to hold herself as superior to others. So the lesson here from her, part of her story, is to not get caught up in the more superficial aspects of beauty, that we actually have to go much deeper and bring out the beauty that's hidden or on the in our inner world. So with the sun and the moon in Scorpio opposing Shadar, as we go deep into these hidden aspects, it will help to balance and integrate these aspects if we orient ourselves towards the deeper beauty and the meaning that these aspects hold. So sometimes it's when it's uncomfortable, we have trouble seeing the beauty in things. But what I'm encouraging here through the connection with Shadar is to actually not look so much at the superficial aspects of things and to go deeper to appreciate the beauty that actually is happening in this transformation that we're in. I'm not saying it's easy to do, but it is possible and I think very helpful. Traits such as deep intuitive abilities, heightened empathy towards others are also highlighted with Shadar as an influence, and these two are wonderful qualities that we can bring at this time as we go deep into what we need to go deep into for our personal and collective transformation. So that's another suggestion too. Use your intuition and your empathy with whatever you're seeing being brought to the light of consciousness, either personally or in the actual collective world. Use that to try to understand the deeper meaning here, rather than being reactive or staying on a more superficial plane. Shadar is also connected with spiritual wisdom and understanding the interconnectedness of the entire cosmos. So that's another wonderful gift from the stars that are influencing the new moon at this time. When divisiveness and polarization is appearing in our world, here we have this influence of a star that is connected with understanding that everything really is connected. We are really connected with everything, which doesn't mean we're the same, of course, but it should help us to realize that there's very little to be gained from being attached to our differences, such that we end up not recognizing the humanity of others. So if you're called to be somebody who stands for bringing more of a unifying or harmonizing influence at this time in our transformation, then you may want to open yourself up to these aspects of Shadar's energy. And finally, I'll just touch very briefly on the constellation of Andromeda. with the fixed star Tidwin being in opposite the sun and the moon at this time of the new moon tomorrow morning. So freedom is an important value associated with the Andromeda constellation. And it's about reaching a state where we realize that, freedom comes from within in many ways. It's not entirely dependent or reliant on external conditions, which I think also helps us to keep a healthier focus, if we can, on our inner world at this time and taking care of that. At the same time as we do view what is happening in the external world and try to assist ourselves and the collective with not getting too caught up and too in a polarized or divisive kind of stance about anything. So Andromeda also puts us in touch with a balance between the masculine and the feminine, and this balance is another one of the key polarities that we experience, and it too can be drawn upon, this balance between masculine and feminine, as we move more towards hopefully less polarity and less divisiveness in the transformation that we're currently undergoing. So I hope that was helpful. And as always, much love and blessings to all of you. Until the next time, I'm Anne O'Neill.